So let's go to the next question, which is, can you explain GMS? Yes, I can. So, or at least I will do a very basic overview, because I also have a course on GMS, a crash course on GMS. So you can also watch that. I will, you can just go GMS, Daily Beats or crash course, and you will most definitely find some of them at the top of the search. If you put Daily Beats, if you put Daily Beats in the search description. So let's go to FL Studio, and let me talk to you a little bit about GMS. So I really enjoy GMS, even though it's not my go-to plugin. I think it's a very powerful plugin, and it can really make some really cool sounds. I've used a lot of some of these sounds, not a lot, but some of these sounds in some of my favorite tracks. So this can be a little bit daunting if you don't understand, or if it's your first time watching GMS or working with synths. And for instance, compare this with my beloved 3x oscillator. This is quite simple compared to this one here. So yeah, there's a couple of parameters here that I want to explain. First, I want to talk about high level areas of the plugin. And it's really nice to understand that, I think, that way, because let's say that you start understanding what the things mean and what they look like. And then you can kind of, instead of looking at these with a bunch of knobs, you can start to see sections. And that's really important. So first of all, we have this LCD display, I would say. And here is where you can select the wave shapes that you want. You can pitch them, put whatever pitch you want. You can mix them here also. You can control the phasing. Basically, you control here the parameters of the oscillators. And as you can see, we have 3 oscillators, pretty much as 3x oscillator. And we have 3 oscillators that we can manipulate. And we can also add some white noise. And here we can take care about the voices of this plugin, and also the stereo separation and detuning of those voices. So here is basically where you control the internal parameters of the oscillators, and when you can start really like crafting your sound design. Of course, here we also have an octave section where you can just increase or decrease the octave of the entire synth. So let's say you can see I have 24, -12, and 0. And if I play, this is the default sound. If I put +1, this all the entire sound of the plugin goes 1 octave higher. And if I put 2 octaves, the same happens for -2 and -1. And of course, we can put this as mono if you want to have a more kind of a lead, I would say. Then we have here a bank where we can just select what type of synths we want. And let's go with the default, which is just a saw. Or you can go with programs. And of course, bank and programs pretty much give you the same thing. And you can just select whatever you want. Then afterwards, let's say this is the first section that you would look like for having or configuring your oscillators. And as you can see, we have a bunch of wave shapes that we can work with. And this is quite nice to have a lot of wave shapes, not just like 3 or 4, like a 3x oscillator. Here we can go a little bit. It's like a step above compared to 3x oscillator. Then we have here the filter section where we can decide what type of filter we want. We can also do some keyboard tracking, which means that if we play very soft and very hard keys, or if we play the key very softly or very hard, it will have an impact on the filter also. So that's also that you can play with. And here the type, we can have low pass, band pass, and high pass. We have a resonator resonance, actually a filter resonance parameter here, or slider. And of course we have the cutoff, or if we are working with a band pass, it's actually not a cutoff, it's more like a band pass, so a center frequency. And yeah, then we have here envelope. And of course, this will apply to all three oscillators. So here, all the oscillators are summed in, and then everything outside of this window will work only on the output of the sum of the three oscillators. Then we have here an envelope section where you can control the attack, the decay, and the amount. And of course, you can see we can invert the envelope, and dest is the destination. So we can do envelope for the filter, and this is actually not the amplifier envelope. This is envelope that we can use to control all these parameters. So filter, modulation, frequency, and LFO. So we can control pretty much all of these, the filter, the LFO, and the frequency here. We can control it with this envelope here, and we can have two envelopes, I guess. I think I would assume this is okay. Have to click on the letters, actually not on the knob itself, and you can have two envelopes, two different envelopes. So if I do something like this, if I go to envelope 1, then we have a different parameters that we can have. So as you can see, we can control different, or we have at least two envelopes to control all these 4 parameters. Then we have a LFO, which stands for low frequency oscillator, and this is usually frequencies that we cannot hear. It can go up to, I think, 30 hertz. I'm not quite sure, but usually it stays around, I don't know, 1 hertz to 10 or 12 hertz. And of course, it can go higher, but yeah. And here you can see the rate. This is the speed of the LFO. At this point, this is in song time. So as you can see, we can also sync it, and we can sync it to the beat, to bar, mode, or have no sync. Then we have the amount, and then we can also control the destination of this LFO. So if you want to have a filter or a LFO controlling the filter, we can do with this. Also, we have 2 LFOs that we can control, which is nice, and this gives you a lot of possibilities, the same as the envelope. And then we can also add frequency to the LFO, to the frequency, and also to the level. And this is quite nice if you want to do some tremolo or some effects. Let's see. Let's do. Let me see. Let's do a fast one. As you can see, this is making the LFO, or is making the level go up and down. And we can do retrigger. That will, every time that we hit a key, it will retrigger the LFO. So we have a little bit more consistency. And then we can also have different shapes. In this case, it's a sine wave. We can also have a triangle shape, and a saw shape, and a square shape. As you can see, we can also go slow. Or we can go fast. And this creates some really cool effects that we can really take advantage of. Then we have here the amplitude, which is the level of the entire synth. So if I think I have a lot of or the signal is a little bit too hot, I can just go here and make it softer, or I can even make it higher. So this is the envelope amplitude. And then we have here an envelope, and this is actually the amplifier envelope. So if I want to make a very soft attack or a very long attack, I can do something here. As you can see, the sound starts slow and it starts to increase. And this would be something like, let's see. This would be something like me telling the sound to do something like this. Start very, very slow. Instead of starting right at 0, it starts very, very slow like this. And then, of course, we have decay, sustain, and release. And we have those options here also. Then we have here some controls for the output also. If I want to remove the or change the level here, we can also change the panning and frequency sliding. If I want to do some sliding like this, let's do. You see that if I remove this, you see that there's sliding between notes. So this can also help, for instance, in leads. That's really helpful. And then, of course, we have the effects section where we can have distortion, crushing, flanger, phaser, low pass filter, high pass filter, echo, reverb, panning, and truncation, I guess. I'm not quite sure what name would be this one. And you can activate the effect by clicking on glue, and you can see now that we have reverb. And of course, you can change the parameters. You can also have an LFO. We can have this, as you can see, the parameter Y, which controlled by in this direction, left and right. It tells me how much feedback I want. So a lot of feedback. Let's reduce. So we barely know that we have a reverb here, sorry. And again, we can control this. And of course, here we can control the filter. So make the reverb bright or make it less brighter. And of course, we can manipulate this with the mouse to have different effects. And you can do this with everything. So this is called XY pad, I would say. I think so. And here is how you can control. You just click on the button and you drag it to the thing. And of course, here it shows what is the feedback or the parameter that you are controlling with the Y or the X. And that's it. I think that's pretty much like a very overall explanation of GMS. We could stay hours talking about this plugin, but you can also go and check some of the presets they have here, and you can try to figure out what they are doing. You can also change stuff to make things sound a little bit different. You can see, let's add some sliding. Okay, and again, this is something that you can always go and take a look. We can also do some modulation here, some FM and some ring modulation. But yeah, I think that's the basic explanation of GMS.